The biggest challenge or biggest challenges to engaging people in the workplace is, number one, employee engagement as a science is so new. I'd like to say the field itself is less than 5, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old. And so the data hasn't even spread around to all companies and organizations. Today, employee engagement is more of a buzzword than a principle that's being used throughout organizations. So the first challenge to it is really understanding what it is. Number two is then understanding the benefit of employee engagement. There's been tons of study done by Gallup and done by Towers Perrin and the Hay Group. And these studies show that companies that have highly engaged employees have higher revenue. And so there's tons of studies that's been able to break down employees into 3 groups. Those employees that are considered engaged, those are not engaged, and those that are disengaged. And they've been able to find that each one of those segments actually contribute or take away money from the organization in a 1-year period of time. For example, engaged employees add an additional $32,000 in increased productivity to their organization, regardless of their skill set. Those employees that are not engaged, those are people who are just kind of going through the motions and just doing just enough. They actually work a whole year and have no impact on the company whatsoever. And then the third category are those that are disengaged. Those are the ones that complain and are unhappy and those type of things. Well, the research shows that they actually take away or maybe decrease or lose $32,000 a year for their companies. And so the data is now beginning to show that you and I, as individuals, actually impact the financial results of the company. The third challenge to engaging is then how. So now that I know this data, how do I change? How do I drive a difference in the culture? So the approach of the culture in most companies, it's a top-down approach. The senior leadership actually sets the tone of the culture. So one of the things that has to happen is that the senior leadership has to be aware of how important employee engagement is. And then they have to work with the right type of organizational consultants to be able to help reshape the culture to create one that actually serves and actually speaks to engagement. The other thing then is actually helping the employees. Another challenge is actually helping the employees get to a place where they feel like they matter, where they feel like they make a contribution, and where they're able to play to their strengths. Those are 3 key requirements in engaging any employee. I'll repeat those. Playing to their strengths, where they feel like they are making a difference, and where they can see that what the work that they do every day, how it matches with the mission of the company. Those are the things that are very important. The challenge with engagement is a lot of companies don't know how to do it. So tips in creating the business culture is, number one, be open to getting outside consultants. Folk who've been studying this particular change in the environment, to allow them to come in and help you create change and create difference in your organization. Generally, employee engagement takes a top-down approach, which means it involves the C-suite and senior leadership, but it's also a bottom-up approach, which means that it's the employees themselves that have a role to play, because they, at the end of the day, decide how much they give, how much discretionary effort do they give. And so what happens is it's a team approach. Senior management enables staff to engage, enables managers to engage, and then the employees are able to engage by being able to go through the right type of consulting, the right type of training to be able to identify their unique gifts, to be able to identify what it is that they really love to do, and then align those things with the work that they do. And so that's really what's key. Employees today are different than employees of 20, 25 years ago. There's a study that was done. It was an international study done in the US, Asia, and Europe. It was actually done by Kelly Services a few years ago. 100,000 workers were interviewed, and the survey determined that 51% of 100,000 workers would sacrifice pay and status for more meaningful work. So today, we're dealing with a generation of people that want to know that the way that they spend their time and the way that they contribute is actually making a difference. It's actually mattering. Today, people want to know that they matter. People want to know that they're contributing to something bigger than themselves. And so for company leadership, if you have a company that is doing something good for the environment, you already have one leg up. It's easy to enroll employees into that vision. But if you're a company and your job is making widgets, maybe it's a little bit more challenging to enroll and get somebody passionate about the selling of widgets. So for you, what you now have to do is create a cause. Maybe now your organization gives to, this particular charity, or maybe now your organization does this type of community service work, or maybe now this organization, gives certain days off in the year to be able to go and do community service for the charity of your own, or maybe your organization has taken on a green project. What we have to do as companies and organizations is speak to this change that's happening in the workforce, and the change that's happening in the workforce is that employees and people want to know that they matter. And so as leadership, we have to create a way to be able to engage the head and the heart, and then have it all show up in the hands in terms of what we do so that people know that they matter. So if any of the things that I talked about today resonate with you and you want to get more information, feel free to take a look at armorsmoncure.com. That's ARMERSMONCURE.com, or cookross.com, COOKROSS.com. Or feel free to email me at thepassionexpert@gmail.com, or my phone number is 314-503-5172. Thank you.